What is going on, guys? I am just reorganizing my space. Welcome back. Marcin here. It's July 9th. What did we lose? A week or 2 weeks? If you have watched the last episode, I was telling you about the changes, about the vacation, and I am officially, I think, back. Like I said, it's going to be this month. It's a lot of turbulence because we went away for a little bit, family visited. Now we have family. Now we have friends, friends slash almost family now visiting next week. So we'll be away for just a little bit. Like I said, this month is crazy, but we are here for one reason only. We're here to talk about photography, building photography business, building it the right way. And for those of you that know, Thursday afternoon, I usually go live and take one little golden nugget and I share it. And I basically, it's based on 18 years of, doing this business successfully and now shifting into kind of just sharing, bundling everything up and sharing with you guys. And every episode is about something different. It could be something with a camera, it could be something about editing, it could be something about client interaction. It could be latest and greatest like automation platforms, how you use ChatGPT, maybe something about high level, any post production software after shoot or imagine whatever you name it, it's here. And I basically, I just want to make sure that I can create this sort of shortcut for you. I hate that word, by the way, because there's no shortcut. You still got to work. And it's kind of exactly what we're going to talk about here today. Before I mention that, because it's been a while, couple things that I have to flag or brag about. You guys will see on this side, right there, right there, right there. Super pumped, super excited. I did a quick Facebook announcement. I don't think I mentioned it here, but the silver button is here. So I just wanted to thank you so much. A lot of folks are tuning in, taking advantage of the information, building their stuff, reaching out sometimes leaving questions under the video. If there's something, if you get stuck, let me know. When I'm going live, usually I don't get like a lot of comments, but if as I'm talking, you have an opportunity to leave me a comment, and then before I even hop off, I can address it and answer your question. And also, two things to flag. Number one, proimageacademy.com/school. That's where if you don't know, I'll mention it after, but the new Skool community, with any questions, anybody joining Skool community right now, there's no paywall, it's totally free. Go in there and join. I encourage you. It's kind of cool because it has all the sections, kind of all the information organized. And I will be building this with intention for somebody to make money without paying a dime. You can go and just kind of learn the first level. And then if it's something that you find helpful, I typically hop on. We do sometimes like one-on-one challenges or sessions where I can help you move forward. And then once you get going, gain some traction, start making money, we can figure out the next steps for you. And there's like different options available. So Skool community is the place to go. I highly encourage you to take advantage of it. If you are a little lazy, you can scan the QR code, and the QR code will not only get you to Skool, but also give you an opportunity to reach out to me directly. You can send me a DM over on Facebook. Let's become friends. Let's connect. And if you have any questions, let me know there. And also, if you are trying to kind of like figure out, maybe you're watching this for the first time and you're like, okay, there's a lot of material here on the channel, but I really don't know where to start. This is your answer, proimageacademy.com/start. You can actually go through the survey. It's an online survey. Be patient because it's about 25 questions maybe, but it will definitely help you understand where you are, because what happens is it's asking you questions, and then in the end, it's kind of scoring different verticals, different areas of your business. So it will tell you, hey, your marketing sucks, or maybe your client interaction needs to improve, or maybe there's something about like pricing or business or whatever. Like, it'll tell you what to focus on first. We're all limited, with our time, and it's always good to know, like, okay, here is something that's going to move the needle right now. so you're not wasting your time on something that's not going to move the needle, not going to make the money. A lot of us are like, oh, website and logo, and like, yes, that's all cute and great, and it's important to have a nice logo and a presentable website. But maybe there's something that you need to do right now to make more money. That's really my approach. I'm not here to teach how to become a fantastic artist that an artist that doesn't get paid. My idea here is like, hey, become like good enough, have your work to be at the point where you can charge $3, $4, $5, $6,000, right? So that's really what it is. This way, you know who this channel is for, who this channel is not for. So 7 minutes in, what the hell are we going to talk about today? So today we're going to talk about monk mode. And what is monk mode? So, and I'll share a personal story with you. But before I do that, let's remove the extra fluff here from the screen. All right, cool. And what is monk mode? So, I got to make a confession. When I started building photography business, or when I got to tell you, whenever I took on a significant project, I simply didn't know how to work. That's really the reality of it. I know that I wanted to do it. I really had a desire to do it. I sometimes had motivation to do it, but still didn't know how to approach it. So, and in my case, and I see a lot of people doing the same thing, and over time, but I got to tell you, it took me years for somebody to like lay it out and explain how I should approach this. Because whenever I went hard, like things were working, but then I was negligent about other things, whether it's the house or kids or wife or whatever. And it's like, but I had this like internal, desire. I just got to get there. I got to work hard. Right. And could never find the right mix until I stumbled on monk mode, and kind of sounds kind of woo-woo with the monk description in there, but just bear with me. It's just a way on how you sort of approach your execution, your planning, and the time when you rest, and your time when you spend it with family. And I got to tell you, the most important thing that you can learn out of this like episode is you have to be a little patient. So a lot of times when folks come in, they have this expectation thinking that there's this magical solution, one silver bullet that will with a turn of a key, it'll just flip the business upside down, and suddenly they'll go from making a couple $100 to like making thousands of dollars. Like, you actually have to put some things in place. Those things will take some time, to be implemented. And you can't do them all at once unless you have somebody to help you. You have a bunch of friends that maybe they can all do a different thing. Sure, then you can move faster. Or you have money and you can pay for people to do the work. That's another way to do it. But most of the time, from the people that I have encountered, you're on your own. So this is exactly what I wanted to tackle. I have the slide deck. I'm going to take you through this. And let's talk through monk mode, and I'll explain kind of even how I stumbled upon monk mode and this way of working. And I got to tell you, it was a life changer for me. So let's take a look at the slide deck first. So let's switch screens here. And monk mode. First thing that I wanted to mention was monk mode was the thing I originally heard some folks utilizing it, using it, following monk mode, but I didn't know where it came from. And then I came across this, I'm going to call it a book, but it's really a PDF book, a digital book file that you download. But it's by Victor Pride, Monk Mode, The Path of the Ultimate and the Key to Self-Mastery. It sounds so serious. We'll break it down just so that you understand what's going on. But the first thing here is why, it's like the explanation that the heading says why most people burn out. And I already kind of tapped into it, why motivation eventually disappears. Motivation is like a muscle. You use it, it's there, you have the desire to do it, and then eventually it just sort of, dissipates, and it's just you have less and less motivation, but you still got to do the work. Then people wait for more motivation, but it's not showing up. And then you're delaying work until you do get more motivation. But what if you don't get motivated for a month? Are you just going to sit around? And believe it or not, most people do. I did. I was just kind of waiting, sitting, and I'm like, well, it doesn't feel like this day. I'll start Monday, or it's like anything. It's, think about it. Like whether you're signing up for classes, courses, working with somebody, whether you're building something, anything around the house, diets, like everything sort of works the same way. And like motivation, you hear it online, like people talk about motivation, and it is like a muscle. It's just, your brain, like this, it's hard to get excited about something you're not doing. Right. So that's one thing. I just wanted to like point out those things, and we'll take them apart and talk about them individually. But motivation is a sprint, success is a marathon, right? So motivation is this short burst of like energy, and success building and eventually getting to your goal, whether it's a smaller goal, medium goal, bigger goal. It's a marathon. It takes a while. Most people train for the wrong race. A lot of people go heavy from the gate. I I did that few times, not few times, multiple times, right, and failed. And like I said, it's not just photography; it's other disciplines or areas of life. And then I learned that it's not, kind of all in energy, that's fading fast. It has to be paced, consistent, lasting. Something that's there for a few months. Let's be honest. We're not going to build something like a business that produces, over $60,000 or $80,000 in 2 weeks, right? That would not be reasonable. Like some work has to go into it so that it produces. It's like building a machine that prints dollar bills, right? Like it will take some time to build it. Just be realistic about it. So a lot of folks come in and they think they can just turn it overnight. They can't. Can you grab a camera and make a couple bucks, a couple $100? Absolutely. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that to build a business sustainable, that's automated with systems that like you're not answering every email or every message, or maybe something with a nice website that takes care of your clients, and you have something maybe with the bot that like sends out notifications, and then to the point where like delivery, the product is nice, the delivery is great, right? So that will take a little bit of time. So that's exactly why I call it a marathon. It's gonna take a little bit of time to assemble all the pieces. You don't have to have all the pieces in place for this thing to work. You will start making money before, but I'm just saying, I'm targeting, folks that want to make, let's say, more than 25K a year. This is really kind of the process to follow. So, why long-term goals require a different approach? You just have to be patient. The approach is different. It's not go heavy, it's go in chunks. And actually, I don't know if you've ever tried dieting, but they always tell you, like, just do something small first and gradually build over time. This is exactly the same way how we're going to approach this, with some caveats. So I'll share that just in a little bit. But that's what happens. You can go super fast, because you will eventually burn out, and this is exactly what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to make sure that little pieces you can, the little chunks you can bite off of the project. Eventually, you get where you need to be. All right, next slide quickly. Build like a house. No one skips the foundation to hang the lights, right? And I got to tell you, I was thinking about this analogy because it's like, to build something successful, it's almost like building a house. And a lot of you guys will be like, oh, I like, if I was to ask you, can you build a house? Like, I would not be in that position. But if somebody broke it down step by step for me and said, go do it, even by myself, I wouldn't be able to do it. But if I was to like manage a project of building a house and somebody gave me like a blueprint on what needs to be done, or what needs to be looked into, what needs to be checked, what needs to be scheduled, what needs to be checked, what needs to be inspected, what needs to be validated, I can follow a list. And this is exactly, what we're doing here. It's foundation first, core systems before aesthetics. So before we start, making it pretty, we need to make sure that we have components that are working, that are bringing money, that are bringing clients, right? And that are making sales while we sleep. One brick at a time. Focus on today. not the finished product. A lot of people, again, get overwhelmed because they're thinking about the whole thing. And it's like, it's overwhelming, becoming overwhelming quick because they tackle one thing, but they're like, oh my God, but there's this other thing. They start the other thing. And then, oh yeah, by the way, there's this other thing. They start the other thing. They go overwhelmed because nothing really gets completed. Nothing gets done. There's no reward after you've been working for a while, and people just give up. They say, you know what, this is too much for me. And they stop. And that's not what we want to do. But if we have a plan like with the house, then we know it's like, hey, we have this plot and the truck will bring the bricks and you have to unload the bricks. Can you do that? Like, yeah, that sounds pretty doable. Like, I can unload the bricks, right? Yeah, great. Or whatever. They bring the dirt and you have to just, make the ground even, or the team or the crew has to make it even. Like, that makes sense. Okay. Somebody's going to come and pour the foundation. Like, just make sure that's done, So it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then bricks goes, they go next. And then like, okay, you got to put in the door and the windows and then maybe the roof. And then slowly, then the framing inside or outside or, with the roof. And then, then the roof goes on, then inside the sheetrock. And it's like, you move along and it's like, it takes a while, I can use an example sometimes. And the thing is, even when things are planned, we actually went, after moving to Florida, we were building our house here. And I got to tell you, a lot of times I found myself in a situation where I was just aggravated because it's like we had things planned and, things were scheduled and moving on time. And then you would hit a wall. Oh, because of the weather. Oh, because the company didn't get the products, or because the crew was whatever delayed or something. And it's like, okay. And the same thing happens with you guys when you're going to start building. You're going to notice you're going to start hitting walls. It's like, oh, you have, I don't know, family visiting. You got to go on vacation. Something with work comes up. And a lot of times we can't afford to switch over to, full time. Some of us never do. And the thing is, it's like, okay, so things come up either at work, with family, with kids. You got to go and see the performance and, attend to the family. And sometimes you're just not feeling well. And so that's exactly what happens here. And with building the house, creating a business, it's going to be the exact same thing. So like when you know that it happens, don't lose your, just be patient, fight through it. And actually, probably wrong way to kind of frame it. Don't fight through it. Just relax. And like the next day or 2 days later, pick it up, continue going. Like, what's the next piece? Where's the next brick? Right. So that's exactly what we have to do. Sorry, I know I just get so excited about it because I got to tell you, like with the system, this will change. So the next thing here is mistake I made. I went all in every single day and called it dedication, right? Like, oh, I really want to do it. Like, I'm going to be dedicated. I'm going to whatever. And then because you're not present, let's say you go really heavy and you're not present for a month. Let's say, you have wife or kids or other responsibilities and you're basically gone. So like very quickly, not only you get burned out, but like you're going to piss somebody off, right? Because if you're in a relationship, it's like, dude, all right, we're in a relationship here. Like, where are you? Well, I'm building this thing. It's very important. Like, okay, what about me? Right? So it's very important. Going all in daily, no reserve, no recovery, tired. And it's like, it's a compounding effect. You get, a tiny bit tired on day one and like more and more and more over time, it adds up. If you don't rest or if you're not planning or like, you're just eventually gonna hit a wall and it's gonna be a hard stop. And then harder doesn't mean better. It's the consistency that matters. You guys probably hear this stuff all the time online. Effort without rhythm leads to diminishing returns. And I always say that imagine you started working at 8 a.m. in the morning, right? And for how long can you work? Like, you can do 1 hour, not a problem. 2 hours, 3 hours, around 4 hours of like straight work. Your cognitive, your brain, your cognitive ability to do anything will decline over time. So with that, it's like you can't even think straight, right? And some people are better. They can go 4 hours, 6 and 10 hours and 14 hours. But it's like physical work is a little different than mental work, and what you're going to see is like your brain eats up 30% of your energy, total energy, right? And you get tired different, like it's a different tired, and you get tired much quicker. And that's exactly what it is. It's like, how long can you push for, right? Let's assume you work for 24 hours straight, right? Eventually this work is not becoming better, it's declining, it's worse results. And that's what I say here, it's diminishing results, because it's like there's actually a period of time where like you deliver quality work and everything looks great, and eventually you hit the point where like it's just becoming kind of slappy, and it's not, so it's very important to kind of do it in chunks over a longer period of time. And I'm not saying delay it, I'm just saying, chunk it up, and then do 5 days of, let's say, 2-hour blocks or 3-hour blocks or 4-hour blocks, instead of trying to go 16 hours on day one, day two, and then eventually burning out. And the hidden costs, burnout, poor decisions, lost momentum, because that's exactly what happens later. So here, short slide. And then eventually what monk mode really is. It's not a hustle culture, a deliberate rhythm of work, plan, and recovery. So every week has a purpose. Think about it this way: 52 weeks in a year, and the plan is to work for 6 months. So I'm just thinking in terms of the year. But if it's a smaller project, maybe you're just building a website, maybe you're just adding I don't know, gallery, maybe you're moving from one platform to the other. So like those projects are going to take less time. So, but I'm just using it for the purpose of explanation, right? So I'm just going to say it's a year, 12 months, and we're planning on working for 6 months only. The rest of the time is for planning and for resting. So that's what it is. You're going to have some flexibility in terms of when you take the time off and when you work, which is kind of nice. Not kind of nice, it's actually really nice, because we can't apply the same schematics, the same system for everybody has different life, different responsibilities, different attitudes towards work, and that's why it's so cool. So 3 things: work, plan, recover. Work is for like deep focused execution. When you work, you work. So you have, and I'll talk about the details, but basically what I mean is, if we have 1 week marked for I work this week, every day from, let's say, Monday through Friday, right? Or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever it is, just pick the same consistent rhythm, the same cadence. So, but just so it's simpler, I'll say I'll work this week, and my work schedule is Monday through Friday. I will say I will spend 3 hours on my photography business every day that week. So hopefully that's simple. Plan is when I review and kind of plan what I need to do and prioritize what's really important, what's going to make the money, what's going to move the needle. This is a week where all I'm doing is I'm not actually executing. I'm not building. I'm not touching. I'm not building anything, any pricing sheets for clients. I'm not touching any platforms. I'm not reworking my sales script. I'm basically planning the work, like what's next. And then when the work week happens, I do the actual work. So I plan first, like, oh, I need to rework my pricing sheets, because I will be switching from mini sessions to in-person sales, let's say. And it's like, okay, so I will need my new pricing sheets. I'll need to figure out what I do my my highlight videos, my demo videos with, what kind of music. I need to choose the music. And all you're doing is just planning those things, right? And you give yourself a week to do it with 3 hours every day. And again, whether it's Monday to Friday, and Monday to Wednesday, Friday, you pick. Maybe it's just 2 days a week. And on those 2 days that week, maybe it's 2 days, 5 hours each, depending on your schedule. Like, that's what I'm going to be doing, right? So 1 week is for planning, 1 week is for executing, 1 week is for relaxation, family, house stuff, whatever it is, right? That's how we're splitting the work. Structure beats motivation every time, and you don't have to. Here's a kicker. When you guys are going to start working this way, what happens is, it's always the worst to kind of get going, right? So on the day when you're executing, on a week when you're working your work week, you're gonna, a lot of times I feel like that all the time. Even before this recording this morning, I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta do this. But I kind of in my head already know that it's very mechanical, very sort of auto catalytic, because it's like I already know what the little steps are. So I don't worry about the whole recording. Oh my God, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to talk about. It's just like, oh, this is step number one. Do step number one. I'm like, what's step number two? I already know what step number two is. So it's like, okay, so I craft the whatever first topic. What am I going to talk about? Okay, then next to create a script or an outline for the video. Done. Create slideshow. But like, I already have it in my head, and I don't really overthink it. I just sit down and I'm like, okay, what's the topic? And I don't worry about the rest. Then I say, okay, let's run it through. Let's figure out what the layout will be. Okay, those are the points. Okay, great. Then use AI, create slides or whatever. Like, okay, great, done, cool. And then I show up here and talk to you guys. So that's really kind of how it is. And then planning week, I plan. I try not to do any other work. I just plan on what needs to happen. So when I like this month, I said it's going to be kind of bumpy because of not doing lives because of vacation, whatever. It's like I need to take the time and take time off. And I got to tell you, sometimes on vacation I feel so like I feel the itch of like, oh, maybe I'll go online and do something extra, but like I want to be present with my kids, with my wife. I go away, and I got to tell you, like I get so many times this like. It almost like I almost miss work. I don't know if it makes sense, but like if you're away and you go heavy on one week and then you take time off, it's almost like I can't wait until I go back, right? And then you sit down, and the next week could be like your planning week, and we'll talk about the like kind of laying out the weeks. But you'll sit down, then you plan, and you're still itching, like, oh my God, like I got all this plan, and you're like you almost want to do it, and the biggest, I think, challenge here is preventing yourself from not doing it. It's almost like when somebody tells you to like lose weight, we want to go heavy, like gym, and I'm not going to eat. And we usually overdo it, but like the changes are supposed to be slow. Otherwise, you're going to tire your muscle. You're going to get an injury. You're going to hate your food pretty soon, right? And the same thing here. So just remember the three components. Weeks that are where we're working, weeks where we're planning, and weeks where we're recovering. And this is going to be different for different people, right? Depending on kind of where you are in life. Build your calendar, design your year before it designs you. Schedule backwards from rest to work. So with me personally, I first start when I look at my calendar. I actually have something on my wall. Maybe next time I can share it with you guys, actually like go through the calendar. But the thing is, what I do is I have 52 weeks in my calendar, right? Because I don't work on one project. There's always multiple things going on. But the thing is, every week is marked as either an off week, a planning week, and the monk mode or the working week, right? So first I start with my vacation. I'm like, well, I got to make sure that whenever we're going away, or maybe around Christmas, or maybe around summer vacation when kids are out of school, like I want to make sure that I have less work weeks. And I already told you before, for me, monk mode working weeks are like half of the year, right? So for me, if I say I like right now, I usually depending on how good the week is, but my minimum work time would be like 2 hours, right? So afternoon or sometimes on weekends, because for me with work, depending like I can't afford to just sit and do something around the same time. But the thing is, I start with my off days first. So I'm like, okay, here my vacation time, travel time, whatever time, and then I make sure that I don't put work weeks around, on top of those weeks, right? So usually those weeks I automatically mark as off weeks. And then I put work weeks just kind of around the calendar. So 1 week, and I'm looking at the wall over there. I can read it from here. Like first week over there is off week, then planning, then work week, then off week, then planning, then work, off, planning, work, planning, then off, planning, work. And that's exactly what I do. So in the end, I need to make sure that out of the 52 weeks, 26 weeks are work weeks. And the rest of it should be a split between planning and off. And for some of you, depending on what you're doing, you may mark more off weeks and less planning weeks. You may sometimes need maybe like a period of time where maybe at the beginning you'll have more planning weeks and maybe less off weeks. But make sure that you split the other half, 26 weeks, between planning and off, whatever rocks your boat. So that's really what I do, and it's a mix of things. And I see that I like in March I have 3 weeks that are work weeks in a row. In May I have the same thing. In June I have the same thing. But like in July I have 2 work weeks, and all the way through like almost end of August, September, it's mostly off or planning. And then September, 3 weeks of like working, then off planning, 2 weeks of working, then off planning. Then I have a block, and I think that's the only block from like October to November, mid-November, before Thanksgiving. I stop. I have off weeks and then planning again. And December is work weeks and then off through Christmas and New Year or whatever. So you get the point. 26 weeks are for work, and the other 26 is a split between planning and off. And that's exactly what you're doing, and you're committing to it. And the nice thing is that when you're working, you're just working that week. Like, let's say for me, 2 hours in the afternoon, I sit down, and if I have energy, I'll go for 3 hours, 4 hours. Sometimes like Saturday, I'll sit down and I don't know, kids or wife, are away or doing something different, or they already have something pre-planned. I will sit down and sometimes I'll work for 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. Who knows? Like, it really depends on, your energy levels. And then on the weeks where I'm off, like, I don't have to worry about work. It's just time that's dedicated to them, to the house, to planning, to changing things, to renovating things, right? To spending time going shopping with them or whatever. So it's actually kind of cool. And obviously it'll be different for all of us. But that's something to remember. Why recovery creates momentum. Rest is productive. Recovery fuels the next push. I already told you, like, you will be almost itching to go back to work, right? And then planning removes overwhelm. So it's nice because once you have things planned, you don't have to think about like what you need to do. You just need to sit down and do it. So sometimes I find myself, like, when I plan at the beginning, when I was doing it during planning phase, very often I wanted to start and like immediately start working on the thing. Be careful. Don't do that. Just plan enough work during that week to like have enough for the next. Because remember, after planning it, which is usually 1 week, you may have 2 weeks of work or 3 weeks of work. Or like I said, for me in October, it's 4 weeks of work. I got to make sure I have enough of stuff planned so that I don't stop with my work. I just kind of, I have the layout of what needs to be done. It's like a list of things of to do, things. And then I simply just focus on the work. I don't plan. I don't have to think about it. I literally just sit down and it's like building a house. Like, move 200 bricks. And all I do on a work week, I show up and I move the bricks. I don't worry about windows. I don't worry about tiles. I don't worry about pipes. I just move the bricks. Like, that's the analogy, right? So that's exactly what it's for. And then you rest. And this is kind of like how, somebody used the analogy. I think Naval Ravikant said, it's like that's how things work in nature. Like, you plan, you hunt, and you rest, and you plan, you hunt, you rest. Like, that's kind of how we should operate. We shouldn't be just hunting all day long without resting. So it's very, very, very important. Planning removes overwhelm, clarity before action. A lot of times we like say, oh, we procrastinate or whatever. Sometimes we simply don't know what we should be working on. And that's why we have the planning. Again, work becomes focused, no energy wasted on guessing. When you're working, I highly recommend you work in blocks. which is about 25 minutes of working, and then with, whatever, like a break period. But like when you sit down, work for 25 minutes, you're actually going to find it hard in the beginning because we're not used to, we're so distracted these days that, between phones, people calling, knocking, TV, whatever, radio running in the background, you're going to see but if you commit the 25 minutes is just perfect because it's long enough to do something meaningful, but it's not too long so that you don't kind of get your head is not spinning. So it's actually pretty good. Consistency wins. You're going to be blown away. Like when I say 2 hours, sometimes people say like, what? Like just 2 hours? Try doing 2 hours for, 5 days in a row. You'll see end of the week. Wait till like a month, you're going to be blown away. You're going to be like, whoa. Because we do this stupid thing of like thinking that there's some sort of a perfect time to do something, and the time never comes and the work never gets done. And we call it procrastination. A lot of times it's for two reasons. One, because it's this fear of failing. So we're like, we don't want to start because we don't want to fail. But the other thing is we don't know what to do sometimes. And again, that's why planning fixes this problem. And the next one here is one brick at a time. Every piece of your business gets its own dedicated season. Don't be all over the place, please. Just try to figure out, like I said, the online assessment, which let me bring up the link here again, proimageacademy.com/start. Take the online assessment, see what you need to focus on, and tackle, one of those things where it's either a website, it's something with the brand, maybe it's a content strategy, maybe create some content, marketing, automation, maybe, like I said, platforms, emails, automations, client notifications, maybe texting clients, maybe working on AI piece. Funnels, which are very important. A lot of people just think in terms of websites, but like funnels, landing pages, they're very important because they're, especially now with AI and kind of detecting content off of your website, like you have to understand how this works, right? And there's specific like list of steps that you have to take to make sure that it operates efficiently. Offers, those are all like packages. So like you're picking basically like one piece of a puzzle and just focusing on that. And you don't let go until it's done. Because a lot of times you're going to hit a wall where like there's the comfortable part of changing something. And then when we hit the uncomfortable, we're like, okay, this is almost done. So I'll switch over to the next thing. Please don't do that. This is the worst that, I've ended up there so many times. And then in the end, never get. And a lot of things is being worked on, but nothing is really done, right? So you're doing a lot of busy work, but not really completing anything. It's not meaningful, and that's a trap. So just make sure that you pick one, finish one, move on to the next one. Everything becomes manageable when you stop trying to build the whole house at once. So you're not moving bricks and windows and pipes and electricity all on the same day. You just work on what needs to be done. Yeah, you got to put up the walls before you put the roof on. You can't kind of halfway complete the walls and put the roof on. Same thing with electricity. It's like you can't do sheetrock if the electricity is not done. That's exactly what we're doing here. So just remember that. And I was talking through. I didn't show you the slide, but this was the slide, one component at a time. And just in case if I missed it, you guys saw this slide, right? But this slide is talking about different components. So hopefully this makes sense. You're sitting down, you're chunking the work down, you're taking your calendar, you're marking half of your whatever. Let's say it's 6 months. So now we're working with 26 weeks. So 13 weeks would be work weeks, and 13 weeks would be a split between planning and off time. And off time, you go heavy on off time. You just, you pick whatever it is, hobby, family, whatever. And is it forever? No, it's just until you build a project. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, this is my life now. It could be if you have a huge goal, then yes, you want to make $1 million, like you're going to be busy for a while. Like it's not going to happen for, in 2 weeks or 2 months. So just get ready. But that's really what we are talking about. So hopefully you understand Monk Mode, what it is, how it works, how to apply it. As always, I encourage you, leave the questions below or use the QR code, reach me on Facebook. Let's talk. I'm always there answering questions for folks. But that is it for today. I'll see you guys now with like I said, friends visiting next week. I'm not sure if I will be there. It will be here, but we're gonna be back to regular schedule after this. August, Florida schools start here earlier, so I will be back to a regular schedule. But for today, this is it. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're paying with time, and this is it for today. Hopefully, this was helpful. See you guys later. Bye.